Hey, gearheads! There's a new engine rumbling its way into town, and it's not your grandpa's V8. Stellantis Jeep is shaking things up with a compressed air engine. This technology is making waves in the automotive world. It's a bold move, and I, for one, am excited to see where it goes. This isn't just some pie-in-the-sky concept car. We're talking about potentially seeing this tech in iconic Jeeps like the Wrangler and Grand Cherokee. Imagine hitting the trails, feeling that open-air freedom and knowing you're barely using any gas. That's the promise of Jeep's compressed air engine. Now, I know what you're thinking. Compressed air, isn't that for filling tires? Well, get ready to have your mind blown. This technology combines a traditional gasoline engine with a compressed air system. Think of it like giving your engine an extra boost of power. But instead of electricity, it's air. This is a game changer, folks. We're talking about potentially doubling fuel efficiency and slashing emissions. In a world increasingly focused on sustainability, this could be a major win for both our wallets and the environment. Let's talk numbers, because that's what gets my engine revving. Jeep is claiming a jaw-dropping 120 miles per gallon with this new technology. That's right, 120 mpg. Imagine filling up your tank and driving from Los Angeles to San Francisco on a single tank. That's the kind of efficiency we're talking about, and it's not just about saving money at the pump. This engine boasts a nearly 99% reduction in emissions. That's huge. We all want cleaner air, and this technology could be a big step in the right direction. Now, I know some folks are all in on electric vehicles, and that's great, but let's be real, EVs aren't for everyone. They're expensive. Charging infrastructure is still a work in progress. And let's not forget about range anxiety. This compressed air technology offers a potential bridge between traditional combustion engines and the electric future. It's a more affordable, more accessible way to reduce our carbon footprint without completely overhauling our driving habits. Plus, it keeps the joy of a traditional engine alive. That visceral connection between driver and machine that we gearheads crave. Now, not everyone is sold on an all-electric future, and one of the most vocal skeptics is Carlos Tavares, the CEO of Stellantis, Jeep's parent company. Tavares is a straight shooter, and he's raised some valid concerns about the feasibility of a world run solely on EVs. His biggest concern? Resources. Electric car batteries require a lot of lithium, and there's only so much of it to go around. Tavares worries that we're headed for a lithium shortage, which could drive up prices and make EVs even less accessible to the average consumer. He's also concerned about the environmental impact of mining all that lithium. It's a dirty process, and we need to be sure that we're not solving one environmental problem by creating another. Tavares believes in a more balanced approach, one that includes a mix of technologies, including compressed air. He's not anti-EV, but he's also a realist. He knows that a sudden forced transition to electric vehicles could have unintended consequences. He's advocating for a more gradual shift, one that gives consumers more choices and allows the technology to mature. And you know what? I respect that. Believe it or not, the idea of using compressed air to power vehicles isn't new. It's been around for decades, with varying degrees of success. Back in 2014, Peugeot, another brand under the Stellantis umbrella, took a stab at it with the Peugeot 308 Hybrid Air. This car used a system similar to what Jeep is developing, combining a gasoline engine with a compressed air tank. It was an interesting concept, but it never really took off. The technology wasn't quite there yet, and consumers weren't quite ready to embrace it. But times have changed. Concerns about climate change are more pressing than ever, and fuel efficiency is a top priority for many car buyers. Jeep is hoping that with its latest iteration of the compressed air engine, it can finally crack the code. They've learned from past attempts, refined the technology, and packaged it in a way that's appealing to consumers. Only time will tell if they'll succeed, but I'm rooting for them. Innovation is what drives the automotive industry forward, and I'm always excited to see companies pushing the boundaries. Okay, let's pop the hood and take a closer look at how this hybrid air system actually works. Don't worry, I'll keep it simple, even for those of you who think a carburetor is a type of pasta. At its core, the system uses a conventional 2-liter turbocharged gasoline engine, but here's where things get interesting. It also has a compressed air tank, a low-pressure tank, and a hydraulic system. Think of it like adding a nitrous oxide system to your car, but instead of nitrous, it's compressed air. When you hit the gas, the engine can draw power from either the gasoline engine, the compressed air, or a combination of both. The system automatically decides which power source to use based on driving conditions. At low speeds, like when you're puttering around town, the car can even run solely on compressed air, meaning zero emissions. The compressed air is created by a pump that's powered by the gasoline engine. It can also be recharged through regenerative braking, just like in an electric car. So every time you hit the brakes, You're actually putting energy back into the system. Pretty cool, huh? Now let's talk about the benefits of this technology because there are a lot of them. First and foremost, it's incredibly fuel efficient. As I mentioned earlier, Jeep is claiming 120 miles per gallon, which is simply astounding. Imagine filling up your tank once a month instead of once a week. That's a significant chunk of change you'd be saving. And it's not just about saving money at the pump. The reduced emissions are a major win for the environment. We're talking about a nearly 99% reduction in harmful pollutants. That's cleaner air for everyone and a healthier planet for future generations. But it's not just about the planet, it's also about your wallet. The hybrid air system is simpler and less expensive to produce than a traditional hybrid or electric powertrain. That means lower costs for Jeep, which could translate into more affordable vehicles for consumers. And because the system is more compact, it frees up more space inside the cabin. That means more legroom, more cargo space, and a more comfortable ride for everyone. It's a win-win situation all around. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room: electric vehicles. EVs are all the rage these days, and for good reason. They're quiet, they're quick, and they produce zero tailpipe emissions. But they also have their drawbacks, namely cost and range anxiety. Compressed air technology offers a potential alternative, especially for those who aren't quite ready to make the jump to full electric. It's more affordable, it doesn't require a complete overhaul of our existing infrastructure, and it still offers significant environmental benefits. Of course, compressed air technology isn't perfect either. It's still in its early stages of development, and it remains to be seen how well it will perform in the real world. There are also questions about its long-term durability and maintenance costs. But one thing's for sure, competition is a good thing. The emergence of compressed air technology as a potential alternative to EVs will only spur further innovation in both sectors. And that's good news for consumers, who will ultimately benefit from better, more affordable, and more sustainable vehicles. So the big question is, will consumers embrace Jeep's compressed air engine? That's the million-dollar question, and only time will tell. But I think Jeep has a few things going for it. First, it's Jeep. The brand has a loyal following of adventurous, outdoorsy types who value capability and ruggedness. And let's be honest, there's something inherently cool about a car that runs on compressed air. It's like something out of a science fiction movie. Second, the technology offers tangible benefits: better fuel economy, lower emissions, and potentially lower costs. In a world where gas prices are skyrocketing and climate change is a growing concern, those are all major selling points. But there are also challenges. Consumers are creatures of habit, and it can be tough to convince them to embrace something new, especially when it comes to something as personal as their car. There's also the issue of infrastructure. While compressed air cars don't require charging stations, they will need a network of air-filling stations. Ultimately, the success of Jeep's compressed air engine will depend on a number of factors, including its price, its performance, and its marketing. But I'm optimistic. I think there's a real appetite for innovative, sustainable technologies, and I'm excited to see how this one plays out. We're living in exciting times, folks. The automotive industry is on the cusp of a major transformation, and Jeep's compressed air engine is just one example of the innovation that's happening right now. From electric vehicles to autonomous driving, the future of transportation is being written as we speak. Will compressed air engines become the dominant technology? It's too early to say, but one thing's for sure: they have the potential to shake things up. They offer a viable alternative to electric vehicles, especially for those who aren't quite ready to make the jump to full electric. The road ahead is full of possibilities. We could see a world where compressed air vehicles share the road with electric cars, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, and maybe even flying cars. The important thing is that we keep innovating, keep pushing the boundaries, and keep searching for better, more sustainable ways to get around. So buckle up, gearheads, it's going to be a wild ride. And who knows, maybe one day we'll all be cruising around in cars powered by nothing but air. Now, wouldn't that be something?